Yeah. Okay. Hi, everybody. Oh, there go my dogs. This is live. We're live. Well, my name is Stephanie Hinkstenberg. You guys know me. And this is the Healthy, Happy Living in the Spotlight series. And you might be wondering, what the heck are those ladies doing? While you're tapping out, you're putting your head on your hands and you're tapping in certain places. Well, I will be introducing Miss Lynn here in a second. But what we're doing is called tapping out the cortices, and I'm going to let her finish while I just introduce Healthy, Happy Living in the Spotlight here for a minute. So, of course, some of you know, some of you don't, that I've been working in the wellness industry, the spotlight, not the spotlight, in the wellness space for a couple of years now. And I have been doing a lot of networking. And part of my networking has allowed me to be introduced to and get to know some really amazing people that I believe have true superpowers. And Lynn is one of them. And I was so amazed at the things that I learned and the way that people can realign their bodies in so many different ways and help their bodies to really do the best work that it can when it comes to healing. I could not stay quiet about it. So last year I created an event. This year, of course, that event was canceled because of the world we live in at this moment. But I really just felt like it was very important for me to continue to show the world and show at least the rest of my friends in my network who these people are and what they do, and talk a little bit about who they are, because they're important in my life and I want to share them with everybody else. So with that being said, I get to introduce the wonderful Lynn Morales. This is her right here. And she has taught me some incredible techniques and helped me and helped my family, all four of us, even down to the dogs, with what she has taught me and the lessons and the techniques that I've learned because of her and her work. And so it's just with such great pleasure and a humble heart that I get to introduce her to you. So Lynn, tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do. And you don't have to go into detail right now because we'll get into that in a little bit, but what is it that you love to do these days?
Well, first of all, I need to thank you, Stephanie, because you have made such an impact in my world. You have become a very dear friend. And so I just want to thank you for your friendship and your skill sets. We won't name them all, but there are many things that you have helped me with as well. And so it is a pleasure to be one of your friends. And that's what I call you, is a friend. So thank you for this opportunity as well. And I was wondering, maybe as a special gift, we can send everyone a free link to the Cortices Technique that we just did.
That would be great.
If that fits in your format.
Yeah.
You saw us, we weren't really doing, the monkey see, monkey do, or hear no evil, speak no evil, weird stuff like that. We were doing a neat brain balancing technique in my work that I do as a health practitioner called BodyTalk. And we are happy to share that with you so you can also have that calming experience and mental clarity from that opportunity. So thank you, Stephanie, again, for having me as part of this opportunity today.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, BodyTalk was something that when I was told about it and when I met Lynn first, I was like, I have no idea what this is. Like, I don't know what it means. I don't know. I've never heard of it. It's a modality that it was out of my range of understanding, but it's so important. And so the best way for me to understand was to go and have a session. And that's what I did with Lynn. And it was unbelievable, the kind of things that have happened, that have occurred, that have been unearthed, that have been released because of her work. So, okay, well, we're going to dive into a couple of questions. So where, Lynn, did you grow up?
Well, I actually started in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I am a Phillies fan, but I'm not an Eagles fan, sorry. It just happened that way. When you're a kid, you pick what uniform looks cool. And I just went with the one that looked cooler. and it wasn't the Eagles one at the time. So
Right.
no big deal there.
Right. Gotcha.
So, but I got to Texas as quick as I could. And I moved here at the age of 9. So I would say more officially grew up here, but my heart is definitely in the Northeast. They've got so much to offer up there. And so I do miss the 4 seasons and things like that, but otherwise Texas is home.
That's great. That's great. Okay. So that's where you live now, and that's where you practice. And
In
that's
the Dallas-Fort Worth area, right?
Right.
And the work, that is where my practice is. However, my work can be done through video conference. We have been doing video conference work since before it was cool, COVID cool, right?
Of course.
So we were already pretty good at it. We're just even better at it now.
Yeah. Yeah. And classes and courses that you're able to do and accomplish.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
That's expanded.
Exactly. And we'll have a few of those things to share as well. Again, any additional links that we can help with this presentation today. Yeah. Absolutely. We can share that.
We'll put them all in. We'll put them all in so that everybody has quick access to everything. Okay. So now we get into the fun stuff. So what do you think is one, because I think you do have many, but what is one of your superpowers? You can tell us 2 if you want, but what do you think one of your superpowers is? Well,
actually, I do believe that there's one that's easier for me to find. I have, other people can see strengths and talents in you that you don't always get to see. But mine is actually reverse engineering and problem solving. And so one of the things, maybe you've heard the verse, one body, many parts. And I learned early in my corporate career that I was a big picture person. And when given the opportunity to see the big picture, whether that was understanding how the whole company was structured by looking at an org chart or looking how a system was structured and all its individual values and fields that created, a technology system, I learned very quickly that if people taught me the way I needed to be taught, which was show me the big picture, then I could really excel in drilling down to the minutest detail. And so while that was super helpful in my corporate career, it helped me to see that connectedness between the various parts. So whether it's an organization or whether it's a body, we've got lots of parts. I mean, it's a neighborhood in there. Like they all talk.
Community,
and they don't get along. And sometimes body parts think another guy's stinky and, hey, do your job, right? And so when I learned that in my corporate career, I realized that it applied so much to my BodyTalk world. And behind me, you actually see one of my BodyTalk charts, and it's exactly the same way. There are many organs, there are many endocrines, there are many body parts, and it doesn't matter whether you have a kidney issue. To me, I don't have to be a nephrologist to help your kidney. And if you have, bone issues or osteo issues, I don't have to be, an orthopedic person. I know enough of the big picture to see how those body parts interconnect and how that interconnection, how they want to work together as pairs, as partners. And when that harmony isn't there, just like in a marriage partner relationship, when that harmony's not there, like when mama ain't happy, nobody's happy kind of thing. Right. That's when there's certain body parts that aren't happy. Well, there's other body parts that aren't happy either.
Right. Which is what was so fascinating to me when I started learning what you do, in that it's not just about the body parts themselves, but really the emotion that is attached or the feelings that have been caught or whatever the case may be within those body parts that aren't necessarily jiving.
Well, and it could even be, like an example in our corporate wellness program that we offer, a lot of people call me for weight management issues today. And one of the things is, we have a very intriguing system in that we're helping them reach their goals. But one of the things that a lot of people miss is that there are attitudes and belief systems behind those weight management things. And there are hormones, and there are angry things that people said, and there are angry things you've said to your own body parts, right? And so when we look at that process, sometimes there's even ancestor things like, great grandpa was involved in he was in a famine. Wow. His epigenetics and the things, his messaging that he sent to the next generations as he procreated, left messaging in those people. And so you realize how interconnected we all are.
Right.
Between each other, within our body parts. It's like you, Stephanie, you're a mom, you're a daughter, you're a wife, you're an amazing dancer, you're a teacher, you're a radio host, right? Hostess with the mostest. And so you impact people in a lot of different ways. You are interconnected. You're part of your zip code, your neighborhood, your city, your county, your state.
Right.
And it's those interrelationships that make so much of a difference, whether your goals are weight loss or your goals are improving in your business, or improving family relationships. It's all connected. And that's the skill set. That's the superpower.
Right.
The big picture, what's Stephanie's big picture, or what's this person's big picture, and drilling down on the parts to go, oh, the problem's over here in the mailroom. Or we could just get the mail sorted in time, everybody would get paid on time, and all the attitude issues would go away, right? It's
right.
Like that.
Right. I love it. I love that. I love that. So tell me one thing, right now we are in a special time, and, with quarantine and with COVID and everything that's happening. So what is one thing that you found that you actually love about this time, that you find as a positive?
Oh, there were many positives.
Yeah, it's true.
I got to say this though. I actually really enjoy, and a lot of people don't believe this, but I do like the alone time. That really was special to me. The quiet time, I got a lot closer in my faith, a lot closer to God. That was invaluable to kind of calm the noise.
Yeah.
And not be in such a hurry to rush to the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah.
That's a very valuable message I hope the whole world got, because for the first time, the whole world shut down together.
Yeah.
That's unprecedented. Even world wars haven't done that to us.
Right.
But that's because we're all, guess what? Connected.
We are. And nowadays, we're certainly more connected through our computers and through social media and through the massive amounts of content that we can watch.
Right, exactly.
It's just so much. And so we can be connected very quickly these days versus what it used to be as well.
Right.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I love the slowing down part. That's certainly been, of course, with kids that didn't go to school for a little while, that were here at home, and husband that's working from home, and all of that. Boy, we couldn't be more connected than we are today.
Sure. It is different when children are in the picture. I just have my cats, and that was they loved it. They're like, yes, they're home.
Yes, all the time, playtime. Well, cool. What is one of your all-time favorite accomplishments thus far?
That's a tough one, because there's one builds on the other. So I know I keep saying stuff like that.
Well, but they're all connected.
That's how I sneak a second answer in.
Yeah.
with permission.
Yes.
So, you know, you can't have a very successful 27-year corporate career and not go, wow, that was a pretty big accomplishment.
Yes.
You know,
Correct.
that was a very valuable experience. That's what taught me my skill set, my big picture, career minded thought process, problem solving, becoming the #1 problem solver for my company. So that was a big deal. And it was in corporate healthcare of all things. But interestingly enough, as that was coming to a close, I was now on a journey with my mom and my dad, and both of them having vascular dementia at the same time.
Oh, wow.
That's an unheard of story for most people. Many people have been through it. I'm not the only one, but very few have been through it when they're going through it at the exact same time. And it was an 8-year journey. It was a very difficult journey. And by dingy, if they didn't die 4 days apart, they like exited at the same time too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and here's the thing. I find that accomplishment of actually being able to maneuver that healthcare landscape for 2 people at the same time. I know from being in corporate healthcare that the healthcare system is complex. I don't think any part of it tries to make it difficult on purpose.
Right.
It's just, we've made it harder, I think, than it needed to be. And it got very complex with more and more regulation and things like that. And some of it was helpful, but some of it hurt too. And so bottom line is, you know, the accomplishment of getting my parents through that journey and maneuvering that landscape has positioned me now to really be helpful to large corporations who have to plan for senior care, the whole younger generation trying to figure out, what am I going to do for my parent when that time comes? Everybody thinks they're ready. And the reality is our healthcare system is not ready for what's called the silver tsunami. It's not ready. And I watched it before the impact hit. My parents were not part of the silver tsunami age. It's the baby boomers.
Okay.
That is a very challenging thing. So I do believe that there is a different future for me outside of my practice, and a new future accomplishment will be, how can I contribute to that broken system and help mend it?
You're in such a great place too, because you know, Lynn and I, for our viewers, we were speaking the other day about what I see as one of her superpowers, and that she gathers so much information so that she can do that drill down. And so with her experience and everything that you've done, Lynn, it's no surprise to me that you're not done figuring out your benefit to the world. We're not done with Lynn yet. That's not, you know, her experience is going to just keep going, of the things that can be accomplished with all of the knowledge that you have. It's amazing. Well, that's wonderful. Well, why is it? So you're a BodyTalk professional practitioner, and you're venturing into this new corporate wellness journey as well. Why is it? Because we know what it is, right? We know what you are doing and what you like to do and what your superpowers are. But why is it that you strive to do the best that you do, that you can, with your patients and your clients and in your practice?
Wow. It's easy. You know, easy question, actually. Because of all the questioning I do, because of that big picture, I looked back on my parent journey and realized that journey had so many broken parts to it. And so my new corporate wellness work is all about because corporate wellness programs don't work. That's the
Right.
bottom line.
Right.
So we are actually coming at it from a different angle. We're coming at it from a hugely education angle, which is actually my own journey.
Mhm.
I'm the daughter of a doctor, a surgeon, and a nurse. So I saw healthcare from a different angle. And when something was wrong with your gallbladder, my dad cut it out.
Right. Right.
My job now is to use the knowledge in my head and my hands, which I have dad's surgeon hands, but I do surgery different than dad. And because I understand that there may be past hurts, there may be other body systems that aren't working properly that are causing that gallbladder to react, and it doesn't need to come out. It just needs someone to understand it, to hear it talk, body talk, to
Right.
hear it say, this is what's going on with me. It's this hurt that happened whenever, or this chemical I got a hold of through no fault of my own, but through my job, I worked with chemicals, and suddenly I have this, toxic epigenetic chemical in my body that's impacting me. So when I watched my parent journey, why I'm striving to be even better and doing what I do as a practitioner is because I saw that there were past hurts, past issues, health issues, whether emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, that maybe didn't quite get resolved for my parents. And I believe that's what actually led to some of what's going on with them. And even today now, I got to tell you, God has this grace, and the day after my mom died, my dad died first, then my mom 4 days later. And the day after she died, I started to find new tools already for brain health. And those are tools that now I'm able to teach to our population and even children of our population, because, digital dementia is a whole nother thing coming if we don't get the word out. So that's my passion in being the best health practitioner I can be, is I see that big picture. I'm doing so many free webinars. You'll have access to those on our website.
Yeah.
So many free webinars, and the theme is the same. And that's where I go with it. I say, what's this pattern here? And when we can start to help rewrite that patterning for everyone, we're going to make a difference in the healthcare industry.
Right. Right.
That's a huge, costly industry, the healthcare industry. And when we can do this, when we do this the right way, we'll make a difference, a big dent.
Yeah. Oh, it's so important. It's so important. Yeah. That, and what a why, what a a beautiful way also for you to honor your parents and to use what you've learned and to really share as much as you do. I don't know anybody that teaches as much as you do. And so much free content, and so much that if one is open enough to really just sit and listen and learn and take it in and then apply it into their own lives, which is what I've done with my family for sure. Huge impact, huge impact. That's wonderful. So can you tell us 2 success stories from your work?
Yeah.
And you may tell your 2, and then I may share mine. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Well, I'm open to that for sure. One of my most favorite stories, I have 2. One will be what I've done, some work I've done within my practice. So let me share that story first. This is an amazing, exciting story. A young girl, over a period of 3 weeks, she was only, just in like grade school. And over a period of 3 weeks, she started to have difficulty walking. And just kind of out of nowhere. And so what happened is I learned about this little girl through members of my church. And so I was like, okay, so so what's going on with her? And so they talked to the mom, and the mom agreed to bring her in to see me. And now this had gone on for we were probably 2.5, 3 months into it now. And what was going on is she was seeing orthopedic people, because she started having difficulty walking. She started seeing neurological people, pediatricians. She was like all over the place trying to figure, the mom, I mean, imagine your second grader suddenly isn't walking without your help.
Yeah. That's horrible. Oh
yeah. And you have no idea what they get into. Is it poison? Like, you have no idea what's going on. So they came to see me, and I started to, right here on this table, do my work with my chart. There's more charts.
There are a lot of charts in there.
Woo.
That's a lot of charts.
And that's not all the charts on my laptop either.
Yeah.
But so what happened is, as we did our work, one of the first things, because I call what I do priority-based healthcare, and and the theme of my practice is the Dr. Seuss book, "Oh, the Places You Will Go," because I never know where I'm going to go in these sessions. So I start doing what I'm doing, and what came up was I kind of looked at the mom and I said, did anything significant happen 4 years ago in her life? And the mom said, we moved to Dallas. I said, oh, okay, great. Was that traumatic for her? And she goes, well, we moved from Hurricane Katrina. And I'm like, oh,
so yeah,
that was pretty traumatic. And she goes, yes. I said, okay. And I said, very good. And I started to continue to do my work with her while she's laying on my table here. And then I said, well, can you tell me something else? And she said, sure. And I go, were there any significant person that maybe she lost in that process, through Hurricane Katrina? I mean, maybe she left her home behind, but anyone else? And she goes, well, she watched her grandfather die in Hurricane Katrina. And I went, oh
my God,
that's very serious. And she said, yes. And I said, okay. And I said, can you tell me, when this whole incident with her moving and not being able to walk without your assistance and all that, because she used to play soccer.
Wow.
She was running, jumping, and playing soccer. That was her favorite sport before all this hit. And I said, can you tell me about the time when her walking issue started? And she goes, yeah, I can. She goes, she was perfectly fine. And then I sent her home to New Orleans to visit her grandmother. And I went, okay. And I said, so she was visiting grandma. And then what happened? And she goes, oh, she was fine. And she said, but then she would start to have little episodes there. And my mother called me to say, hey, she's having episodes. Something's going on. Did you notice this when she was at home, back home with you in Dallas? And the mom's like, no. And she goes, well, okay, I'll keep an eye on it. Another week goes by. Grandma calls again. You need to come out here. She's having a harder time walking, and I don't know what's wrong with her. And she's not faking it.
Wow.
And so by the time this 3-week process had evolved, this young girl was moving to the point where she could no longer walk without assistance. So what happened is, while we were working through the session, what we realized is that she had a tremendous fear. She was paralyzed with fear being back in New Orleans. She had not been back to New Orleans since Hurricane Katrina happened.
Wow.
So that was the underlying root issue.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Oh, the places you will go, New Orleans, right? And so what happened is, in that situation, she ended up having to, she left here. And of course the mom's scratching her head like, hey, what did you do? I mean, what is it neurological? Is there something wrong with her structurally? Like, what did you do? And I said, just go home and bring her back next appointment. That's all I can tell you. And so we brought her back in the second appointment. We started to work with her some more.
Uh-huh.
And when she came back for her third appointment, so this was probably 6 weeks into the process.
Uh-huh.
And when she came back for the third appointment, she walked through my doors and her mom says, well, tell her. And I said, what? And she said, I played half a soccer game.
Oh
And
my
she
God.
is great today. She's a bubbly, bouncy, college age young lady, doing great, walks fine, nothing wrong.
And see, that is so important, because had they not found you and had they not found this modality, who knows what else her body would have been put through, or what other medications she would have been put on, or you know, horrible amounts of medical bills piling up to no avail because of this. Oh my gosh, our emotions, our mind is so very strong. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Now you asked for a second one, and this one is actually one from a class that I teach to the public. So this work back here, yeah, it took a lot of investment, time investment, financial investment to get to the levels that I'm at in BodyTalk. I mean, I'm at, you know, the highest levels that they teach in BodyTalk, but trust me, there's so much to learn with it.
Right.
But we teach a class, I teach a class called BodyTalk Access, and it was developed to be taught to the layperson.
Right.
So that Cortices technique that we can share with your audience is a freebie from that class.
Mm-hmm.
But let me share with you one of our students, one of my students in my student teaching class. So I was doing my student teaching, another instructor was making sure I was doing it right and all that kind of thing. And about 6 weeks later, one of my students, this is her testimonial,
Mm-hmm.
but it's important because all of you need to know that are watching, my job is to give you education. And that's what this class is all about. It's an education class, this BodyTalk Access class. So this lady, she learned a technique called fast aid, which Stephanie now knows what that is.
I do.
And invaluable technique. And what basically happened is she found herself on an airplane flying from Haiti back to Miami. Now, if you know your geography, there is no way to emergency land. It's all water. And so what happened is she found someone that was on the plane. Well, didn't find them. They announced themselves. That was in tremendous pain with, they thought, an appendicitis attack. So you're on a plane, and this was a few years back before all the other craziness with planes.
Right.
But bottom line is she's on a plane and now somebody's screaming from pain.
Middle of the ocean.
Yeah, middle of the ocean. The doctor on board checks the patient out and says, well, there's nothing I can do. And so they kind of took that person to the back of the plane, and I don't know if they stuffed a pillow in their face or what, but they had to keep the rest of the plane calm, right? Because there's nothing they can do.
Right.
You just got to keep flying faster. And so my student said to the flight attendant, she went to the back and she said, you know, I just learned something in a class. Now, 6 weeks earlier, she was in my student teaching class. I just learned something in a class. It might help. And so they're translating to the person because they're speaking French and she speaks English. And so they're translating back and forth. And they're like, the person says, okay, try it, because there's nothing else. There's no other options at this point. You know, a little first aid kit's not going to help. And so she taps out the fast aid routine, and in under a minute, the person is completely out of pain.
Oh my God.
Completely out of pain. So when they get to Miami, they have emergency medical people converge on the plane, and they meet the plane on the tarmac to get this person. Right. We don't know how everything ended up, right? And that's their personal protected health information anyway, so we won't share that. But bottom line is, American Airlines was involved. And American Airlines sent my student a letter thanking them for what could have been a disastrous situation on their plane.
Absolutely.
Thanking her for her medical expertise from one Saturday afternoon class. And guess what else? She got 15,000 bonus miles.
Heck yeah.
From the medical director at American Airlines.
Wow.
What
Well,
do you
I
think of that?
mean, so I'm just going to interject really quickly and say that and plug this Body Talk Access class because I took it myself at the end of April. It's June now. It's almost the end of June, so a couple months ago, and immediately had opportunities to utilize specifically this fast aid technique on my son, on my husband, on myself, and on my dog. And in every single scenario, if not after the first time, at least for my son, he hurt his wrist pretty bad in a bike accident. And it took us a couple of times to tap out this technique with him. But for me and for my husband and for what happened with my dog, all of those scenarios, it was an immediate relief response. And it just goes to show you where that pain starts and what you can do with a couple of little techniques that you can learn to help it to subside. It was incredible.
And it's not your thank you, by the way. And it's not your standard wellness class.
No.
At all. I mean, this is not me telling you to drink more water.
Mm-mm.
This is not me telling you in fact, I even teach a technique that if you're not drinking enough water, your cells still know what to do with it.
Correct.
Right. But
Correct.
I think one of the most beneficial things about the Body Talk Access class is an extraordinarily helpful tool we have called body chemistry.
Yes. Especially right now.
Right. Very, very important class. Very important technique because it helps to address bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungus, allergies, intolerances. Invaluable. And you know what? We can even teach it to kids. We do have a cutoff of age 12 for our class, but there's even some school districts that use it, and the kids are like, "Teacher, we didn't tap out our cortices yet. Right. I'm about to take an exam and I could use that mental clarity."
Right. Exactly. It's just such a huge, huge tool. I like how you say, Lynn calls it the Swiss Army knife of health, because it really is something that can be used for so many things.
And that's a neat thing. I mean, if you don't have access to healthcare. That's why it's called Body Talk Access. I want to help people get that.
Okay.
If you don't have access to healthcare, if you don't have access to a vaccine, if you don't have access to get into the ER for the sprained ankle, I mean, for whatever reason, I mean, I'm not saying this is the cure-all for everything, but I can tell you, it can address a lot of things. It saved Stephanie a lot of healthcare dollars already.
Absolutely. That's for darn sure. Especially with kids or with a dog.
Kids can get into, oh yeah, the vet bill.
I mean, the vet bill alone for a dog with a droopy eyelid, I mean, that's all that was going on with him. He had a droopy eyelid and we were like, that's weird. So I tapped him out, gone.
Well, and in all fairness, there really is animal talk access. So,
yeah. And I haven't learned that. I just kind of made it up as I went.
Right. But it is important for people to know that there's actually a whole animal thing. And you know, it's interesting. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and my grandma, my grandma from my dad's side, she was an orphan and all, and she basically said, "Why would you spend so much time going to school when you could help people?" And, she had a different perspective on life. She was a nurse herself. However, so then I got this idea, I always stayed between the lines and did what people told me to do, tried to be on the right track. So the next thing I did, Stephanie, is I said, well, then, okay, I'll be a people doctor. Well, then my dad, the surgeon, said, don't do that. I don't like what I do anymore. I don't like insurance companies, and they're really not all that bad. That's who I actually went to work for. But long story short, he didn't like that plan for me. And so I studied business instead. But you know what? This is how God has a way of bringing it all back around, because I can work on people and pets now.
Yeah, you can do it all.
Much to the wondering of my veterinarian. How do you do that?
Uh-huh. What you did there.
How do you know that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, so I wrote this because it's easy for people to understand the word, but I do believe that failure is just an opportunity, really, just an opportunity to learn. But what would you say is one of your failures or one of your biggest learnings?
Yeah, because there's many, right?
Sure.
But I actually believe, but it's going to be the greatest asset. Okay.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I do believe that my greatest failure, despite anyone who watched my journey would totally disagree with this statement.
Okay.
My greatest failure was my mom and dad's dementia journey.
Mm,
I know now, and this is 18 months after their passing, I did not have the tools to
mm,
help them then. But I know that big picture now.
mm-hmm.
And the little pieces are coming in.
Right.
The little pieces are going to make a difference in corporate wellness too. As
Yeah.
we start to embark on that, all these classes that we're putting together, brain health, digital dementia, see well, balance well, move well, all these classes that are bringing together how the brain functions and adapts to issues and changes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a huge learning.
And who knew one of my mom's favorite pastimes was going to the beauty parlor? And who knew about something called beauty parlor stroke syndrome?
I don't.
And I didn't until after she passed. And these are all the tidbits. So
That's
you
beauty
want to
parlor.
learn about that, you got to go to my brain health class.
Oh, now I have to go. Now I have to go. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, well, it's interesting. Uh, in 2015, when I started my big health journey, part of it was at the same time my son was growing out his hair because he wanted to donate his hair. And I said, well, I'll do that with you. But I knew that at that time, there were only a few, if very few, companies that would take donated hair that had any kind of color on it.
Oh.
And so I stopped coloring my hair. I also thought, I wonder if I stop coloring my hair and stop putting all those chemicals on my head, what it would do for me. And so I just stopped dyeing my hair at that point, which is why I have so much gray today. But that's interesting. I'm going to have to come to your class and see if that has anything to do with it.
I'll help you. No.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So you still need to come to class to learn what beauty parlor stroke syndrome is. But let me tell you something, Stephanie, to plug what you do, because this is really valuable. And this journey, what I have been taught and been learning over the last 18 months since mom's passing, and I kid you not, the day after she died, I started to learn some of this information. And I'm going to tell you this, your dancing, invaluable.
Yeah.
For the brain to stay connected to the feet.
Yeah.
That is super, super important for that long-term brain health.
Right.
And keep it up. And if I wasn't so, too footed, whatever it's called, I'd be in your class, but.
Well, I'm working on getting it online so that the people like you that aren't necessarily so comfortable coming into a group setting can still do it in the comfort of their own home. Because certainly with this time, I have learned how to pivot online and do classes online. And I'm recognizing that my class in particular, thank you for plugging it, is quite important for people to do. So yes, you're absolutely right. Get out there and dance, people.
And then, our collaborative effort of you and I, Stephanie,
yes,
is how we now, I do things differently in BodyTalk Access between, mitten, glove.
Yes, mitten, glove.
And I sound like I'm a little rockette in there teaching it. And that's, trust me, that's a whole new gig for BodyTalk doing the rockettes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, there were some hand motions that you have to do in this BodyTalk Access, and I gave Lynn some ideas on how she can illustrate that to her students using some information I got from what I did.
Beautiful.
So there you go.
It was beautiful.
That's awesome. Well, Lynn, what is the best way for someone to get in touch with you to see if they are a good fit for either an online session with you, or if they're in the North Dallas area or North Texas area really, and can come to you? What is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
So I'll give you the website. That's one way, because then they can actually watch the BodyTalk presentation under our services page.
Okay.
And that will go a long way to explain what Stephanie couldn't at the beginning.
Yeah. Yes.
She's like, well, it's just really cool.
I don't know how to explain
And it
it.
was so neat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she did this.
Yeah.
And I don't know what she did.
And I just laid there.
So our website is accesscompletewellness.com. Accesscompletewellness.com. You can also email to info@accesscompletewellness.com.
Perfect.
Or I'll also leave our phone number,
Okay.
which is 972-712-0892. And that's for any of our services, whether it's the BodyTalk services or our new corporate wellness programs, which are all about helping people not just drop the weight, but understand how underlying health conditions might be contributing to their lack of success. And that's what we help people through, is being successful by addressing those underlying health issues, which helps you get off a lot of medications too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, for what it is that I do in my own work with the different tools that I have, I know that, you know, if there's someone that is above my pay grade, they're going to Lynn. That's for sure. That is for sure. So anywho, well, Lynn, thank you so much. I just have so much gratitude for you and for the work that you do, and for your friendship, and for the work that we've been able to do together. And I know it's not over, and it's just going to keep getting better. But guys, go to this website, go listen to some of these free webinars. And if you are so led, please call Lynn and get an appointment on her schedule, because it's amazing work. It's amazing work, and it can really make a huge difference. And depending on your situation, it could be very fast. It could take a little bit of time, but it can change so many things. So thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, as always, for your friendship.
Awesome.
Appreciate all that you've done.
And we'll put all those links down at the bottom here, and you guys have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Bye.